If you truly follow God, will He tell you who to date?
We'll be talking about seeking signs and God's will in this edition of Love Ed with Julie and MJ.
If you've been following the last few webisodes of Love Ed, we've been talking
If
about,
if you have,
as you've been following the last few episodes of Love Ed, we've been following Michael and my relationship as it developed. And we talked about a DTR talk, a Define the Relationship talk that I had with Michael that began to open his mind to the idea of us being more than friends. Ew, from your brain?
yes, you opened my mind and there was a rose there.
Well,
What happened next was a lot like that. I went from wanting to be a free agent to like, I want to be Julie's man. But as much as I wanted to be that, I also did not want to make another relational disaster for me to record for posterity. If I was going to put my heart out there again and have it return to me, return to sender, unopened, and yet crushed, broken, yes, chewed up, spit out, I wanted to know that God was in that. So I was seeking Him in prayer. I was wanting to hear Him say something along the lines of, in the voice of James Earl Jones, Michael, you shall take this woman Julie, and you shall make her your wife. But instead, in a voice that wasn't like James Earl Jones and didn't say anything quite that definitive, I felt like he said, hey, you know what? If you and Julie wanted to take your relationship to the next level, I think that'd be cool. I remember thinking, cool? Like, because she's the one? And I feel like God said, no, if you wanted to get more serious about your relationship, and dating, that would please me. Please you because we will get married. And I never felt like I got that sort of answer. But I also felt like I had God's approval to move forward.
So at the same time, I was going through a time in my life where I was learning to understand and discern the Lord's will for the decisions that I was making. And a lot of that was coming through a Bible study I had been working through by Henry Blackaby called Experiencing God. I would really encourage you to Google that name, Henry Blackaby, and go through the study yourself. It's a wonderful, life-changing Bible study. Anyways, I also had made several dating relationship failures, and I was beginning to decide I don't want to do this any longer. And I was definitely not going to rush headlong into my next relationship. I wanted the Lord to be in charge of my dating life.
And speaking of Henry Blackaby, Experiencing God, that's where I learned that I couldn't just go on that sense of, well, yeah, I think God said it would make him happy if you had to be in His Word. You have to be involved in the church body, because it's there that people that know and love God well can get to know you and love you well. So I went to Craig, our college pastor. He was like 2 thumbs up. I had 2 accountability partners that I'd been meeting almost every single week, not including just hanging out here and there, but intentionally every week for accountability since our freshman year. Both of them, Yancey and Pete, 2 thumbs up. And Pete was, his deep insight will never be forgotten, because I remember his words were, dude, it's love, not rocket science. My best friend at the time, they were like, great, my wife.
My wife. Your mom.
Boy, are we going to use this take? My mom was like, yeah, okay, so she had some reservations. This is her little baby boy, but she's like, this sounds like good stuff. So it wasn't just that feeling in prayer. I had the confirmation of the people that knew me and loved me best.
And all those people knew me too.
That's right. And they were familiar with how we related.
Yeah.
Obviously my mom's back home in St. Louis, but all the rest of the people got to see us together a lot.
Yeah. Well, all I know is that we're studying in a classroom at the business school on campus one day.
I'm about to make my move.
And he reaches into his backpack and pulls out a rose and puts it on the desk. And I'm thinking, okay, what is this about? He went down to the front of the classroom, pulled out his guitar that he had secretly stashed in the podium, and begins to play a love song to me. So course, I turn bright red, and after the song's over, he comes up and in so many words asks if we could date exclusively, be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you say.
And Julie's answer was music to my ears.
I asked him if he would give me a week to pray about it.
Seriously, I was true that was way better than a yes from a girl that, you know, kind of rolled into relationships the way I wanted to, but couldn't because the girl didn't like me back. And I didn't want her saying yes to me without really having that same firm confirmation that this was pleasing to the Lord for her.
Well, and as you can guess, after a week of praying about it and talking with my friends, we became a couple. Yay.
Kind of a big deal. So you see, there wasn't any supernatural signs. James Earl Jones didn't show up, not even his voice. We just did what believers have been doing since Jesus came. We sought God's will through his word, through his body, and through his presence in prayer. And that's exactly what we encourage you to do in the Love Ed Study Guide series, Beyond Sex and Salvation.
Yep, we address all three of those key life disciplines in Book 2, which is the Green Book.
And so our relationship exited the friend zone,
and we became friends for life.
Yes, we would love the same thing for you. We would love to see you married to your best friend sometime in the very near future. I wish you could know how much I mean that.
And that's why we do these videos every week. So join us next week for Love Ed with Julie and MJ.